I just finished the most recent episode of Star Trek Discovery, Magic to Make the Sanest Man Go Mad. And I have to say, at the start of this episode, I skipped the theme song, which is kind of a big deal for me. The Star Trek theme song and TV show in general is very nostalgic and sentimental to me because I grew up watching it pretty much nightly with my parents. We had all the seasons on DVD and we would just sit down and watch them together, and it was just a way that we spent time together in the evenings. So for me, this show has a lot of meaning, and the theme song is part of the experience. I skipped the theme song because I wanted to experience as little of Star Trek Discovery as possible, and by the end of the episode I almost felt a little bit bad for it because this is hands down the absolute best episode we've gotten out of Star Trek Discovery. Finally! Oh my god, I can't believe it took them this long to figure out that we want episodal, fun, interesting Star Trek. I don't want these heavy nonsense plots. I don't want fully subtitled Klingons. I just want a fun, optimistic, interesting sci-fi show with characters that I like. I don't know why that's so much to ask for, but in this episode we finally got it. Oh my god. So, the things I liked about this episode, I loved the performances. I thought Anthony Rapp as Lieutenant Stamets was absolutely fantastic. I think he carried a lot of this episode. I think Sonequa Martin Green finally made Michael Burnham shine and was given some good writing to work with, and I think she did a beautiful job. I really, really loved Rainn Wilson as Harry Mudd. I thought he did a fantastic job really bringing that character to life again and adding this comedic, fun flair to a villain in this series in a way that was just kind of entertaining. It really pulled you back in and made you enjoy watching the ship get taken over and over again. I would say that's how it differs between Next Gen, is that I was always kind of like a little bit internally distressed when the ship was in trouble, when someone was taking it over or something like that. But I would say this was an episode a la Starship Mine or Cause and Effect. I loved the heist angle where he's trying to steal the ship, and I love me a causality loop plot line. They're always fun, and I thought this one was no exception. Some particular favorites, I loved the Lorca death montage. It was so satisfying. Captain Lorca has kind of been a thorn in my side this entire series so far, where I just feel like the writing doesn't justify what they're trying to communicate with the character, and it makes me hate him because he's just a really shitty version of an interesting character archetype, and I don't think it's Jason Isaacs' fault. I think he's a good actor, and I think in this episode he does a good job. I really enjoyed his speech at the end of the episode, and I thought he did fine. I just loved watching him die over and over because, oh my god, I hate that character. Some other things I really liked, at one point when Harry Mudd was doing his time-traveled wildness, someone says, "You're mad!" and he says, "No, I'm Mudd." That was great. I actually, laughed out loud. I love puns, and it was just adorable. And I really liked the way he addressed the random communications officer when telling people not to be a hero. Random communications officer, man, that was great, and added a lovely little Easter egg to reference red shirts. And this red shirt survived to Red Shirt Another Day, which was great. I honestly would say that this episode, if it is actually indicative of what we're going to be seeing in the future from Star Trek Discovery, was the most hopeful thing I've seen in a while. This finally felt a little bit like Star Trek, and I know this might piss some people off because I know you all love that I hate this show, and hating things is fun, but I honestly genuinely like liking things, and I love Star Trek, and I wanted to like this show. I wanted this show to be good. So I'm not going to shit all over it when I'm finally seeing what I want to see from this show, which is some character moments, which is time for characters to breathe, which is not taking itself so seriously, and not making Star Trek into a series of badly filmed action movies in space. We finally get an episode where it feels a little bit like an actual episode of fucking Star Trek. And it was just nice to have it not be so grim dark for once, and to have some romance and humor and fun and light, and the scenes between Michael Burnham and Lieutenant Stamets, I think, were the strongest part of the episode and further cemented their friendship, and I'm really curious to see where that mirror plotline goes in the future. I'm like invested in Stamets now. And I had so little to like about this show before, and so all in all, this episode, I just appreciated so much about it. The things that I did not love, I hated the fucking Gormagander. It was the most shitty CGI. It looked like 90s Trek. I don't understand how it was so bad. This show has such a high budget. If you're gonna make a space whale, could you please just actually make it look like an animal that could exist or be in the same room as a human, because it just looked ridiculous. It looked like a cheap video game effect. I was so frustrated. It was so bad. And of course, the usual random visuals and technology being way too sleek and fancy. I love the continued creepiness of Lorca's war room, though. That was kind of neat. All the weird, shady fucking weapons he has in there. I also thought it was a little bit abrupt how they kind of just resolved the plot by reprogramming the chair and a bunch of other minor systems. I think they just kind of wanted to end the episode and didn't know how. I do like that they kind of did it in a roundabout way by accessing non-essential systems. That's a very Star Trek thing to do. All in all, I'm hopeful. I'm just so reluctant to be hopeful because I've been bait and switched by this series before. Choose Your Pain was an okay episode, and then the next episode that followed was terrible. This one was pretty good. I hope this is an upward trajectory. I hope that we're finally going to get some sense from this series. I hope that I'm finally going to care more about these characters. I would say still the biggest difference between this show and previous series of Star Trek is whenever Voyager was in trouble or whenever I saw the Enterprise explode, I would feel distressed. I would actually care. I'd be concerned about the fate and safety of my favorite characters. When I watched Discovery, even watching the Discovery blow up, I didn't really feel all that much. I didn't particularly care. And I think that kind of is where this show still differs from other Star Treks. They're starting to build the foundation of what I want to see, and I just really, really hope that that's what we continue to get. I hope this is a new level of quality that we keep having. I hope they maintain whichever writers are on these episodes. I hope that they keep them on for more episodes and have them fucking lead some more episodes, because the writing was just leaps and bounds better than it's been. But we'll see next week if I'm going to be burned and if I'm going to have to go back to angrily ranting about how much I hate this show. All in all, I still like the Orville better, but maybe I'll have 2 fun sci-fi series that I get to like instead of just one. We'll see. That's everything I have for you on this. Wiedersehen.